I hired a PI to follow my teenage daughter, and what I found out destroyed our family. My daughter Sophie turned 17 last month. Good grades, volleyball team, college prep classes, never missed curfew, never talked back. The perfect kid everyone told me I was lucky to have. But 3 weeks ago, she started acting different. Coming home at exactly 10 p.m. instead of 9:30, her phone face down on the dinner table, taking hour-long showers, wearing makeup to school when she used to roll out of bed 5 minutes before the bus came. My wife said I was paranoid, said all teenagers act weird. But I'm a banker. I notice patterns. I notice when numbers don't add up. And something wasn't adding up with Sophie. I started checking little things. Her laptop history was wiped clean every single day. Her location sharing randomly turned off. She said volleyball practice ran late, but when I called the school, practice ended at 4 p.m. sharp every day. She was getting home at 6:30. So I hired this guy, Rick. Found him on some website that looked sketchy but had good reviews. Cost me $800 up front for 1 week of surveillance. He drove an old gray Camry that blended in with everything. Had cameras with zoom lenses. The whole setup. Day 1, Rick followed her from school. She got on the bus like normal, got off at our stop, walked home. Nothing weird. Day 2, same thing. I was starting to think I wasted my money. Day 3, Rick called me at work. Your daughter didn't get on the school bus today. She walked 3 blocks east and got into a black SUV. Couldn't see the driver, windows too dark. I'm following them now. My stomach dropped. I told my assistant I had a family emergency and left the office. Rick sent me updates every 10 minutes. They drove to the north side of town, parked behind some Italian restaurant I'd never heard of. Sophie got out and went inside through the back entrance. Rick waited. 40 minutes later, Sophie came back out, got back in the SUV. They drove her to a bus stop 2 blocks from our house. She got out and walked home like nothing happened. This went on for 3 more days. Same pattern. School ends. She walks 3 blocks. Black SUV picks her up. They go to that restaurant. She's inside for about an hour. SUV drops her near home. She walks the rest. I told Rick to go inside the restaurant on day 6. Figure out what was happening in there. He went in wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, ordered coffee at the bar. 30 minutes later, he texted me, "You need to see this. I'm sending photos now." The first photo loaded on my phone. My hand started shaking so bad I almost dropped it. It was Sophie, sitting at a back table. But she wasn't alone. Sitting across from her was my brother. My younger brother, Kevin. The one who lived 2 states away. The one who said he was too busy to visit for Thanksgiving last month. The one who Sophie barely knew because we only saw him twice a year at family stuff. The second photo showed them closer. Kevin was holding her hand across the table. Not like an uncle, not like family. Like something else entirely. The third photo showed Kevin leaning over and kissing her forehead. I pulled over on the highway. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Rick called me. "Sir, there's more. The restaurant owner says they've been coming every weekday for almost 2 months. Always the same table. Sometimes they're in there for 2 hours." I drove straight to that restaurant, parked across the street. Rick was still inside. I could see them through the window. Sophie laughing at something Kevin said. Kevin looking at her like, my phone buzzed. Text from my wife. "Sophie home yet? Dinner's ready." I didn't answer. I sat in my car staring at that window. Rick came out and knocked on my passenger window. Got in the car. "What do you want to do?" he asked. I looked at him. Then, back at the restaurant window. Kevin was standing up now, helping Sophie put on her jacket, his hand on her lower back. I opened my car door. Then I saw her. Another girl, maybe 15, walking up to the restaurant entrance. She had the same nervous look Sophie used to have 3 months ago. She went inside and sat down at a different table. Kevin stood up, kissed Sophie on the cheek, and walked over to the new girl with that same predatory smile I'd just seen him give my daughter. I was out of the car before I realized I was moving. Rick grabbed my arm. "Don't. Not yet. We need more evidence. You go in there now, he'll lawyer up and you'll have nothing. That's my daughter in there, and he's already moving on to another one. I know, and we're going to stop him. But you need to be smart about this." Rick's grip tightened. "Give me 5 more minutes. I'm recording everything. The girl who just walked in, I got her face clear on camera. We can identify her, contact her family, build a real case." My legs felt like they might give out. I leaned against the car while Rick went back inside. Through the window, I watched Kevin sit down across from the new girl. Watched him do that same lean-in thing, that smile. Sophie was still at her table, looking at her phone. Not even bothered that Kevin had just left her to talk to someone else. That's when it hit me. This wasn't new for her. She was used to it, used to sharing him, used to waiting her turn. My phone rang. My wife again. I answered this time. "Where are you?" "Sophie just got home and she's asking about you." "She's home? Already?" "Yeah. She walked in like 2 minutes ago. Said practice ran late again. Are you okay? You sound weird. I looked at the window. Sophie was gone from the table. Must have left through the back while I was talking to Rick. I'm fine. Working late. Be home soon. I hung up. Rick came back out 5 minutes later with his phone in his hand. Got it all. Audio, too. He told the new girl his name was Cole and that he worked in tech. Same lies he probably told Sophie. Same setup. We need to call the police. Right now. We will. But first you need to talk to your daughter. Find out how this started. How far it went. We need her testimony to make this stick. The drive home took forever and no time at all. I kept replaying those photos in my head. Kevin's hand on Sophie's. That kiss on her forehead. The way she'd laughed at something he said like they were a couple. My baby girl. My 17-year-old daughter who still slept with her childhood stuffed bear. I pulled into the driveway at 7:30. Kitchen light was on. I could see Sophie through the window, setting the table. Normal. Everything looked so goddamn normal. I sat in the car for another 10 minutes trying to figure out what to say. How do you ask your daughter if your brother has been molesting her? How do you even start that conversation? My wife opened the front door. Are you coming in or are you going to sit out there all night? I went inside. Sophie was in the kitchen, her back to me, stirring something on the stove. She turned around when I walked in, smiled. Hey, Dad. Mom made your favorite, chicken pasta. I looked at her, really looked at her. The makeup was heavier than usual. Her shirt was new, tighter than what she normally wore. How had I not noticed before? Sophie, we need to talk. Living room, now. The smile dropped from her face. What? Why? Is something wrong? My wife looked between us. What's going on? Living room, both of you. I sat down on the couch. My wife sat next to me. Sophie stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Am I in trouble or something? Where were you this afternoon? Volleyball practice, I told Mom. Try again. Something flickered across her face. Fear. I was at practice. You can ask Coach Brennan. I already did. Practice ended at 4. You didn't get home until after 7. So I'll ask you one more time. Where were you? She stared at me, then at my wife, then back at me. I was with friends. We went to get food after practice. Which friends? Does it matter? Yeah, Sophie, it matters, because I know you weren't with friends. I know exactly where you were and who you were with. Her face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. I pulled out my phone, opened the photo Rick had sent, the one of her and Kevin at the table, hands touching, turned it toward her. This is what I'm talking about. My wife grabbed the phone from my hand, stared at the screen. What the hell is this? Is that Kevin? Why is he holding Sophie's hand like that? Sophie's eyes filled with tears. You followed me? You had someone follow me? Answer the question. How long has this been going on? It's not what it looks like. It looks like your uncle is treating you like his girlfriend. So you better start explaining what it actually is. My wife stood up. Kevin? Your brother Kevin? What the hell is happening? Sophie was crying now, full sobs. You don't understand. He loves me. He's the only person who actually listens to me and cares about what I think, and he's 43 years old. You're 17. That's not love. That's a crime. You're so old-fashioned. Age doesn't matter when two people connect on a deeper level. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Those weren't her words. Those were his words. He'd gotten into her head so deep she was parroting his justifications. How did this start? When? She wiped her face with her sleeve. Last summer, at the family barbecue. We were talking and he told me I was mature for my age, that he could tell I was different from other girls. We started texting after that. Last summer, July, 8 months ago. She'd been 16. And when did it become physical? My wife made a choking sound. Physical? Please tell me this didn't become physical. Sophie looked at the floor. Didn't answer. Sophie, answer your mother. October. He said he wanted to make it official, that we were in a real relationship and it was time to take the next step. October. 2 months after she turned 17. I stood up because I needed to move or I was going to put my fist through the wall. He raped you. It wasn't rape. I wanted it. You're a minor. You can't consent. That's the legal definition of rape. You don't get it. None of you get it. He treats me like an adult. He respects my opinions. He makes me feel special. He's a predator. He groomed you. Everything he said, everything he did, was manipulation to get you into bed. That's not true. He loves me. He told me he's been unhappy for years and I'm the one who makes him feel alive again. My wife was crying now too. Sophie, sweetie, this man is using you. Whatever he told you, it's not real. It is real. We're planning a future together. Once I turn 18, we're going to... You're not going to do anything with him. You're never seeing him again. This ends tonight. Sophie's face changed. The tears stopped. Something hard came into her eyes. You can't stop me. In 6 months, I'm legally an adult and I can do whatever I want. He's been doing this to other girls, Sophie. I saw him today. After he left you at the restaurant, he sat down with another girl, younger than you. He's running the same game on her that he ran on you. You're lying. He wouldn't do that? I have video, photos. Her name is probably already in his phone. You think you're special? You think you're the only one? She shook her head. No. You're trying to break us up because you're jealous that I found someone who actually values me. Jealous? Sophie, this man is a pedophile. He's been grooming multiple underage girls. You're not his girlfriend. You're his victim. I'm leaving. She started toward the stairs. You're not going anywhere. Give me your phone. No. Give me your phone or I'm calling the police right now and having them pick up Kevin tonight. You wouldn't. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Put it on speaker. The operator answered. 911. What's your emergency? Sophie lunged for the phone. Okay. Here. She threw her phone at me. You're ruining my life. I'm saving your life. I hung up on the operator. They'd call back. I let it ring. I opened Sophie's phone. She'd changed her passcode, but Rick had shown me how to do a forced reset. It took 3 minutes to get back in. The text chain with Kevin was right there. Thousands of messages going back to July. I started reading. I wish I hadn't. Messages about how mature she was, how beautiful, how he'd never felt this way about anyone before. Promises that once she was 18, they'd leave town together. Start fresh somewhere no one knew them. Build a life together. And then the photos. Photos he'd sent her. Photos she'd sent him. I closed the phone before I saw too much. My wife looked at me. How bad? Bad. Really bad. We need to call the police now. Sophie collapsed on the floor. Please don't. Please. He'll go to jail. His life will be ruined. His life should be ruined. He's a child predator. But I love him. Those 3 words broke something in me. Not anger. Just this deep, bottomless sadness. My little girl was so twisted up inside she thought she loved the man who'd been systematically abusing her for 8 months. I called Detective Morris. We'd gone to high school together. He answered on the second ring. Hey, long time. What's up? I need to report a crime. Multiple crimes. Sexual assault of a minor, child grooming, possibly others. Can you come to my house? Now? There was a pause. Who's the victim? My daughter. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I hung up. Sophie was still on the floor, crying. My wife had moved to sit next to her, hand on her back. It's going to be okay, sweetie. We'll get through this. No, we won't. Everyone at school will find out. Everyone will know. I'll be the girl who slept with her uncle. My life is over. Your life isn't over, but his is about to be. Detective Morris showed up 9 minutes later with another detective named Walsh. They sat down with Sophie for over an hour, asked her questions about when it started, how Kevin contacted her, where they met, what happened between them. Sophie answered everything in this flat, dead voice, like she'd given up. Walsh took me into the kitchen. We need the phone, your daughter's and any evidence you collected. I gave him Sophie's phone and forwarded all of Rick's photos and videos to his email. There's another girl. Rick got her on camera tonight. At the same restaurant. Kevin approached her the same way. We'll find her. Do you know where Kevin is right now? No, but he's probably still at that restaurant or back at wherever he's staying. He told my family he lived 2 states away, but obviously that was a lie. We'll put out a bolo. With what you've given us, we have enough for a warrant. He'll be in custody by morning. They left around midnight. Sophie had gone up to her room. I could hear her crying through the door. My wife was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. How did we not see this? She asked. How did we not know? He's good at hiding it. That's what predators do. Our daughter. Our baby girl. He did this to our baby. I know. I want him dead. Is that wrong? I want him to suffer for what he did to her. It's not wrong. She looked at me. You knew something was off. You hired that PI. Why didn't I see it? Because you wanted to believe everything was fine. We both did, but it wasn't fine. It probably hasn't been fine since last summer. What do we do now? We help Sophie heal. We get her into therapy. We make sure Kevin never gets near her again. And if I see him first? You won't. He's going to jail for a long time. My phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Detective Morris. We got him. Arrested him at a motel on Highway 9. He had 2 phones on him. One with messages to your daughter, another with messages to 4 other girls. All minors. All following the same pattern. 4 others. My chest felt tight. Did you find the girl from last night? We did. Her name is Bryn. She's 15. Parents had no idea. Thought she was at the library studying. We're contacting the other families now. What happens next? He'll be arraigned this afternoon. Given the evidence, bail will be set high. Probably $500,000 or more. He won't make it. And with 5 victims willing to testify, he's looking at serious time. 20 years minimum. 20 years. He'd be in his 60s when he got out. If he survived that long in prison, guys like him don't do well in Gen Pop. Thank you. I'm sorry this happened to your family, but you did the right thing. You saved those other girls from going through what Sophie went through. I hung up, told my wife. She nodded, didn't say anything, just stared at her coffee cup. Sophie came downstairs at 8, eyes swollen from crying. She looked at us. Did they get him? Yeah, this morning. She sat down at the table. Good. That surprised me. Good? You were right. About the other girl. I texted her last night, from a friend's phone, warned her about him. She told me there were others. That he'd promised all of them the same things he promised me. That we were special. That he loved us. She started crying again. How could I be so stupid? You weren't stupid. You were manipulated by an adult who knew exactly what he was doing. Everyone's going to know. Everyone's going to judge me. Some people will, but the people who matter won't. And you're going to get through this. We all are. She nodded, wiped her face. I need therapy, like serious therapy. We'll find you the best therapist in the state. Whatever you need. The next few weeks were hell. Kevin's arrest made the local news. Our family name was dragged through everything. People at my work asked questions. People at Sophie's school whispered in hallways. Parents of the other girls reached out. Some thanked me. Others blamed me for not stopping Kevin sooner. Kevin's arraignment was postponed twice because he kept firing his lawyers. He finally went before a judge 3 weeks after his arrest. Bail was set at $1 million. His parents, my parents, refused to post it. Said they couldn't believe their son would do something like this, that there must be some mistake. There was no mistake. The evidence was overwhelming. Photos, videos, text messages, testimony from 5 girls. Kevin tried to claim the relationships were consensual, that the girls pursued him. His lawyer tried to paint Sophie and the others as troubled teens looking for attention. It didn't work. The prosecutor demolished every argument, showed the jury the progression of messages, how Kevin had systematically groomed each girl, isolated them from friends and family, made them dependent on his approval. Classic predator behavior. The trial lasted 6 days. Sophie had to testify, had to stand in front of a courtroom full of strangers and describe what Kevin had done to her. She broke down twice, had to take breaks, but she got through it. She was so much stronger than I'd ever realized. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, came back with guilty verdicts on all counts: sexual assault of a minor, child enticement, child pornography for the photos on his phone. 15 years to life. Kevin didn't react when the verdict was read, just stared straight ahead. His parents left the courtroom crying. Didn't look at me once. Sentencing was 2 months later. The judge gave him 25 years, no parole eligibility for 15. Kevin's lawyer filed an appeal. It was denied. Sophie started therapy 3 times a week. It helped. Slowly. She stopped blaming herself. Started to understand that what happened wasn't her fault. That Kevin had targeted her specifically because she was young and trusting and desperate to feel valued. She graduated high school last month, got accepted to 3 colleges, chose one 3 hours away. Said she needed distance from this town, from the memories, from the looks people still gave her in the grocery store. My wife and I are in therapy too. Our marriage almost didn't survive this. Too much blame, too much guilt, too many questions about what we missed and should have seen. But we're working on it, taking it day by day. My relationship with Sophie is different now. She doesn't trust easily anymore. Keeps people at arm's length, but she talks to me. Really talks. About her fears and her anger and her plans for the future. She's going to major in social work. Wants to help other kids who've been abused. Turn her trauma into something that helps people. I'm proud of her. Prouder than I've ever been of anyone. She survived something that would have destroyed most people. And she's not just surviving anymore. She's fighting back. Kevin sends letters from prison, 1 every few months. They go straight into the trash unopened. Sophie doesn't want to read them. Doesn't want to hear his justifications or his apologies or whatever it is he's trying to say. She's moved on. We all have. The other families don't talk to us much. I think it's too painful. A reminder of what their daughters went through. But sometimes I'll see Bryn's mom at the grocery store. We'll nod at each other. A silent acknowledgement of the club neither of us wanted to join. Rick, the PI, called me last month. Said he'd been following Kevin's case. Asked how Sophie was doing. I told him she was okay. Better than okay. He said he was glad. That he'd done a lot of surveillance jobs, but this one stuck with him. That he still thought about that night at the restaurant. Watching Kevin move from one girl to another like it was nothing. I think about it too. All the time. About how close we came to losing Sophie completely. If I hadn't noticed the changes. If I hadn't hired Rick. If I'd listened to my wife and written it off as typical teenage behavior. Kevin would still be out there. Still grooming girls. Still destroying lives. I'm not a hero. I'm just a dad who paid attention. who trusted his instincts when something felt wrong, who did what needed to be done to protect his kid. But sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep, I wonder about all the other Sophies out there, all the other Kevins, all the families who aren't paying attention or don't know what signs to look for. And I wonder if there was more I could have done, should have done. My wife says I can't save everyone, that I did save Sophie, and that has to be enough. She's right, but it doesn't always feel like enough. Sophie leaves for college next week. We're driving her down together, helping her move into the dorms, meeting her roommate, doing all the normal parent things. And maybe that's what matters most. That despite everything, despite Kevin and the trial and the trauma, we still get to do the normal parent things. We still get to watch her grow up and build a life and become the person she's meant to be. Kevin tried to take that from us, from her, but he failed. She's still here, still fighting, still surviving, and that's more than enough. Update 1. Sophie called me from college 3 weeks ago at 2 inches the morning. I answered on the first ring, because that's what you do when your kid calls that late. She was crying, not hysterical crying, just this quiet, broken sobbing that made my chest hurt. Dad, I need you. I was already putting my shoes on. What happened? Are you hurt? No, I'm okay. Can you come get me? I'm leaving now. Text me your dorm address. My wife woke up when she heard me moving around. What's wrong? Is Sophie okay? I don't know. She wants me to come get her. Something happened. I'm coming with you. You don't have to. I'm coming. The drive took 2 hours and 47 minutes. We made it in 2:15. My wife called Sophie 3 times on the way. No answer. Just that one text with the dorm address and nothing else. What if someone hurt her? My wife asked, her knuckles white from gripping the door handle. Then we deal with it. Together. Whatever it is, we handle it. Campus was dark and empty at 4 a.m. Sophie was sitting on the steps outside her building in sweatpants and a hoodie, hugging her knees. She looked 12 years old. My wife was out of the car before I'd even fully stopped. Ran to Sophie and wrapped her in a hug. I'm okay, Mom, I'm okay, Sophie said, but she was crying again. She got in the back seat. My wife sat with her, held her hand, didn't ask questions, just stayed close while Sophie pulled herself together. I drove, kept checking the rearview mirror, watching Sophie's face in the lights from passing cars. She looked so tired, so defeated. About 20 minutes down the highway, she finally spoke. There was this guy in my psychology class, Damien. He seemed nice. We studied together a few times. He asked me to a party tonight. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. What did he do? Nothing, that's the thing. He didn't do anything. We were at the party and he offered me a drink and I couldn't stop thinking about Kevin. About how Kevin always bought me drinks at that restaurant. How he'd smile and touch my hand and make me feel special. And Damien smiled at me the exact same way, used the exact same tone of voice, same inflection, like he'd read the same playbook. Did you tell him no? I ran, literally ran out of the party without saying anything. Left my coat. My phone was in my coat. I had to borrow someone's phone to call you. Damien probably thinks I'm insane. Everyone probably thinks I'm insane. I heard people laughing as I left. Someone said, "What's her problem?" And I just kept running. My wife squeezed Sophie's hand tighter. You're not insane. You had a trauma response. I can't do this, Dad. I thought I was ready, thought I was healed enough, but I'm not. Every guy who talks to me, all I can see is Kevin. Every time someone's nice to me, I wonder what they really want, what they're trying to get from me. I can't even have a normal conversation without analyzing every word, every gesture, looking for red flags that probably aren't even there. That's hypervigilance, my wife said. Dr. Yates warned us about this. It's a trauma response, your brain trying to protect you. It's exhausting. Do you know how tiring it is to be suspicious of everyone? To second-guess every interaction? My roommate brought me cookies last week and I couldn't eat them. Kept thinking, what if she put something in them? What if this is how it starts? I know that's crazy. I know, but I couldn't stop thinking it. We drove in silence for a while. Then I pulled off at a rest stop, turned to face her. You want to come home? Sophie looked between me and my wife. I don't know, maybe? But that feels like giving up, like letting Kevin win. Like proving I'm too broken to function in the real world. Kevin's in prison. He already lost. You coming home isn't giving up. It's recognizing that you need more time, more healing. There's no shame in that. But I've been in therapy for over a year. I testified twice. I wrote a book. I should be past this. I should be able to go to a party without having a panic attack. Healing isn't linear, my wife said. You're going to have setbacks. That's normal. Expected even. Everyone else seems fine. Marissa got married. Lauren's back in school. Natalie's working full-time. And I can't even accept a drink at a party without freaking out. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. Everyone heals differently. At different speeds. You can't compare your journey to anyone else's. She wiped her face with her sleeve. Mom's going to be disappointed. Mom's sitting right here and Mom is not disappointed, my wife said firmly. Mom is proud of you for recognizing your limits, for asking for help, for taking care of yourself. I wanted to make it work, wanted to prove I was strong enough. You are strong enough to know when you need support. That's real strength, Sophie. Not pushing through when you're drowning, but asking for the life raft. Sophie looked at me with those red, swollen eyes. Did you ever wish I'd never told you? That you'd stayed ignorant and our family could have just stayed normal? Never. Not once. I wish Kevin had never hurt you. I wish I'd caught it sooner. But I don't wish I didn't know. You telling the truth, me finding out, that saved you. That's all that matters. But look at what it cost. Your relationship with your parents, your brothers in prison, our families destroyed. All because I didn't recognize what was happening to me. No, I said sharply. All because Kevin made a choice. He chose to groom you. He chose to manipulate you. He chose to abuse you. You were a kid. None of this is your fault. Logically, I know that. But emotionally, I still feel guilty. Like I should have known better. Should have seen through his lies. That's part of the trauma talking, my wife said. Kevin's voice still in your head. We need to get you back into regular therapy. More intensive than what you were doing. Real trauma processing. Sophie nodded slowly. Can we go home? Yeah, baby, we can go home. We stopped at her dorm long enough to grab some essentials. Sophie's roommate was still asleep. Didn't stir when we came in. Sophie moved quickly, quietly, throwing clothes into a duffel bag, grabbing her laptop and textbooks. She paused at her desk, picked up a framed photo of her and Damien from study group, stared at it for a long moment, then put it face down and left it. In the car, she texted Damien an apology, said she had a family emergency and had to leave suddenly, that it wasn't his fault, that she was sorry for running out. He responded immediately, asked if she was okay, if there was anything he could do. Sophie turned off her phone without responding. I can't explain this to him. Can't tell him that he triggered me without getting into why. And I'm not ready to tell that story again. Not to someone I barely know. You don't owe anyone your story, my wife said. Not unless you want to share it. What do I tell my professors? My advisor? Everyone's going to ask questions. We'll figure it out. Medical withdrawal. You don't have to give details. Just that you need time for health reasons. People are going to talk. Make assumptions. Let them. The people who matter will understand, or they don't need to be in your life. We got home as the sun was coming up. The house looked the same, smelled the same, but somehow different, like we'd all changed so much that even familiar spaces felt foreign. Sophie went straight to her room, her childhood room that we'd kept exactly as she left it. Posters on the walls, books on the shelves, the stuffed bear she'd slept with until she was 13. She sat on the bed, looked around. I thought I'd outgrown this room, this version of me. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need to come back here. Regroup. Figure out who I am now. Take all the time you need, I said. What if I never figure it out? What if I'm always this broken version? You're not broken. You're healing. There's a difference. We stopped at her dorm long enough to grab some essentials. She'd deal with officially withdrawing later. Right now, she just needed to get out. Her roommate was still asleep. Sophie left a note explaining she had a family emergency. My wife was waiting when we pulled into the driveway at 9 a.m. She didn't ask questions, just hugged Sophie and said welcome home. We all went inside and I made pancakes while Sophie took a shower. Normal things. Safe things. Sophie slept until 6 p.m. Came downstairs looking exhausted. I emailed my advisor. Told her I need to take a medical withdrawal for the semester. She said it's not a problem. I can come back in January if I'm ready. And if you're not ready in January, then I wait until I am ready. The thing is, healing isn't linear. I'd read that in one of the pamphlets the victim's advocate gave us. But reading it and living it are different things. Sophie has good days where she seems almost normal. Goes out with the few friends from high school who stuck by her. Laughs at TV shows. Makes plans for the future. And then she has bad days where she doesn't get out of bed, doesn't eat, just stares at the wall. Those days I sit with her. Don't try to fix it. Just be there. Her therapist, Dr. Yates, says this is all part of the process. That Sophie experienced a massive violation of trust during a critical developmental period. That her brain is basically rewiring how it processes relationships and safety. It takes time. 2 weeks after Sophie came home, we got a call from the prosecutor. 3 more victims had come forward. Girls Kevin had groomed before Sophie. 1 from his neighborhood growing up. 1 from his first job out of college. 1 from the town he lived in before moving here. All of them saw the news coverage of his trial. All of them finally felt safe enough to speak up. The prosecutor wanted to bring additional charges. Said it would add years to Kevin's sentence. Asked if Sophie was willing to testify again if needed. She said yes without hesitation. Said if her testimony helped put Kevin away for even longer, it was worth it. The new trial was scheduled for March. But Kevin's lawyer filed motion after motion trying to get the charges dismissed, claiming the statute of limitations had run out on the older cases, claiming the witnesses weren't credible, claiming his client had already been punished enough. The judge denied every motion, set a trial date, told Kevin's lawyer to stop wasting the court's time. Kevin's parents reached out. My mother called. I hadn't spoken to her since before the first trial. She wanted to meet, talk about healing the family. I told her there was nothing to heal, that Kevin had destroyed this family, and she'd chosen his side by refusing to believe his victims. She started crying, said she couldn't accept that her son was a monster, that there had to be some explanation, some misunderstanding. I hung up, blocked her number. My father tried email. Same message, same response. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Sophie started a new job at the library. Shelving books, quiet work, no customer interaction. She likes it. Comes home and tells me about the weird books people check out. Asks me if I've read this or that. We've started a book club, just the two of us. Read the same book and discuss it over dinner once a week. It's nice, normal, the kind of father-daughter relationship we should have had all along if Kevin hadn't stolen that year from us. My wife started volunteering with a local organization that supports families of abuse victims. Leads a support group every Thursday night. Says it helps her process everything. Gives her a sense of purpose beyond just surviving. I went back to work, but it's different now. I can't focus the way I used to. Numbers on spreadsheets feel meaningless when I know what real loss looks like. My boss noticed. Asked if I needed time off. I said no, but maybe I do. Rick called again. Said he'd been contacted by a reporter working on a story about Kevin's case, about how predators use technology to groom victims. Asked if I'd be willing to be interviewed. I said I'd think about it. Sophie said I should do it. That if my story helped even one parent recognize the signs, it would be worth it. So I agreed. The interview was last week. Should come out sometime next month. I have no idea how I'll feel seeing it in print. The reporter asked me what I'd say to other parents, what advice I'd give. I told her to trust your instincts. If something feels off with your kid, it probably is. Don't let anyone tell you you're being paranoid or overprotective. Don't ignore the signs because you want to believe everything's fine. She asked me if I had any regrets. I said yes. I regret not hiring Rick sooner. I regret every day Kevin had access to my daughter that I could have prevented. I regret believing my wife when she said I was overthinking things. But mostly I regret that Sophie had to go through this at all. That Kevin existed, that he made the choices he made, that 17 years of her life got divided into before and after. The reporter wrote it all down, said my story was powerful, that it would help people. I don't know about that, but if it helps even one kid, then maybe all of this wasn't for nothing. Sophie's 18th birthday is next month. She doesn't want a party, doesn't want presents, just wants to spend the day with me and her mom. Maybe go hiking at the state park like we used to when she was little. Before everything got complicated, I asked her what she wanted for the future, what her plans were. She said she didn't know yet, that she was still figuring out who she was now, who she wanted to be, that the person she was before Kevin didn't exist anymore, and the person she became during that time was someone she didn't recognize. So now she's building someone new from scratch. I told her I was proud of her. She laughed, said I always say that. I said because it's always true. She's the strongest person I know, stronger than me, stronger than her mother, stronger than anyone should have to be at 18. Last night, Sophie came into my office while I was paying bills, sat down in the chair across from my desk. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever wonder if it's your fault? Like, if you'd kept Kevin away from family stuff, or if you'd noticed something was wrong with me sooner, or if you'd just been a better father, none of this would have happened? Every single day. That's not fair to you. Kevin made these choices. Not you. I know that logically. But logic and feeling are different things. Yeah, they really are. She was quiet for a minute. My therapist says I need to forgive myself. That I need to accept I was a kid who got manipulated by an adult, and none of it was my fault. But some days I still feel like I should have known better. Should have seen through his lies. You were 16. You're supposed to trust the adults in your life. That's not a character flaw. That's being a normal kid. Kevin stole that from me. The ability to trust people. I don't know if I'll ever get it back. Maybe you won't. Maybe your trust looks different now. More cautious. More earned. That's not a bad thing. It's lonely, though. Keeping everyone at a distance. Then we work on that in therapy. We figure out how to let safe people in. One step at a time. She nodded. Got up to leave. Stopped at the door. Thanks for not giving up on me. Even when I pushed you away. Even when I said horrible things about you to Kevin. You could have walked away and I would have deserved it. You wouldn't have deserved it. And I could never walk away. You're my daughter. That doesn't come with conditions. She smiled. Small and sad but real. I love you, Dad. I love you too, baby. She went back to her room. I sat there staring at the bills on my desk, thinking about how close we came to losing her. How 1 week later and Kevin might have convinced her to run away with him, to disappear, and I would have spent the rest of my life not knowing if she was alive or dead. Rick saved her. Rick and his gray Camry and his telephoto lens. Rick and his instinct to go inside that restaurant and see what was happening. Without him, none of this would have come to light. Kevin would still be out there, still grooming girls, still destroying families. I should call him, thank him properly, maybe take him to dinner or something. My wife says I don't owe him anything beyond what I paid him. But I disagree. I owe him everything. The mail came today. Among the bills and junk mail was a letter from Kevin, not to me, to Sophie, forwarded from her college address. My hands shook holding it. Should I give it to her? Throw it away? Steam it open and read it first? I called Dr. Yates. She said to ask Sophie. Let her decide if she wants to read it or not. It's her choice, her control. She's been stripped of enough control already. So I asked her, showed her the envelope. She looked at it for a long time. He's not allowed to contact me. That was part of the protection order. He's in prison. He probably doesn't care about violating orders anymore. What do you think it says? Probably that he's sorry, that he loves you, that he never meant to hurt you. The usual manipulation tactics. Do you want me to read it? I want you to do whatever feels right for you. She took the envelope, held it, then ripped it in half without opening it, then ripped those halves into smaller pieces, kept ripping until it was confetti. I don't need his words in my head. I spent 8 months letting his words control me. I'm done. She threw the pieces in the trash, washed her hands, went back upstairs, and I stood there in the kitchen feeling proud and sad and relieved all at once. Kevin doesn't get to hurt her anymore. He doesn't get to manipulate her or twist her thoughts or make her doubt herself. She's free of him, truly free, and that's worth everything. The second trial starts in 6 weeks. Sophie's been preparing with the prosecutor, going over her testimony, making sure she's ready. She's nervous but determined. Says she wants to look Kevin in the eye and let him see that he didn't break her, that she survived him. I'll be there, in the courtroom, every single day, whatever she needs, however long it takes, because that's what fathers do. We show up, we protect, we fight, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when we wish we could fix everything but no we can't. All we can do is be there, and sometimes that's enough. Update 2. The second trial started March 12th. Sophie and I drove to the courthouse together. She was quiet the whole way, picking at her cuticles until they bled. I didn't tell her to stop, just handed her a tissue when she needed it. The parking lot was packed, news vans everywhere, reporters with cameras waiting on the steps. Someone must have tipped them off that there were new victims, that this was bigger than the original trial. We used the side entrance. The victim's advocate met us there. Her name was Patricia, late 50s, kind eyes. She'd been with us through the first trial, knew exactly what Sophie needed. Space when she needed space. Presence when she needed presence. Kevin was already in the courtroom when we walked in. Orange jumpsuit, handcuffs. He'd lost weight. His hair was grayer. He looked old and tired. Good. He looked up when we entered. Made eye contact with Sophie. She stared right back. Didn't flinch. Didn't look away. After a few seconds, he was the one who broke contact. Looked down at the defense table. That small moment felt like a victory. The new victims testified first. The prosecutor wanted to establish pattern. Show the jury this wasn't isolated incidents. This was systematic predation spanning 20 years. First was Marissa. She was 34 now, married, 2 kids. Kevin had groomed her when she was 14. He'd been her brother's friend, 19 years old. Would come over to their house for band practice. Started paying special attention to her, made her feel seen. Her testimony was devastating, detailed. She described how Kevin had isolated her from her friends, made her dependent on his approval, convinced her their relationship was special. That age didn't matter when 2 people truly connected. The same exact words he'd used on Sophie. The defense attorney tried to discredit her, asked why she was coming forward now after 20 years, insinuated she wanted attention, wanted money. Marissa didn't flinch. I came forward because I have a daughter now. She's 13, and the thought of someone like Kevin approaching her the way he approached me makes me physically ill. If my testimony puts him away longer, keeps him away from more girls, then it's worth it. The jury was paying attention, really paying attention. Second victim was Lauren, 28. Kevin had been her manager at her first job. She was 16, he was 25. Started off as mentorship, career advice, then turned into something else. Meetings after hours, rides home from work, touching that started casual but became sexual. She'd quit the job when she finally told her parents. They'd wanted to press charges, but she begged them not to. Didn't want the attention, the questions, the judgment. Now she regretted that silence. How many girls could I have saved if I'd spoken up then? How many girls did Kevin hurt because I was too scared to come forward? The defense attorney objected. Said that was speculation. The judge sustained it, but the jury had heard it. You could see it on their faces. Third victim was Natalie, 31. Kevin had been her youth pastor. She was 15. He'd groomed her under the guise of spiritual guidance, prayer sessions that turned into something else, made her believe their relationship was blessed by God. That questioning it was questioning her faith. She'd only recently left the church, only recently started processing what had really happened to her. Her testimony was the hardest to hear. The way Kevin had weaponized her faith against her, made her believe she was chosen, special, that their relationship was divine will. I watched Kevin's face during her testimony. No emotion, just blank staring, like he was somewhere else entirely. The prosecutor rested their case after 3 days. The defense put up 2 witnesses, a prison psychologist who testified that Kevin had been a model prisoner, participated in all the programs, showed remorse. Sophie laughed when she heard that, actually laughed out loud. The judge shot her a look. She quieted down. But the damage was done. The jury saw her reaction. The other defense witness was Kevin's cellmate. Said Kevin had been mentoring him, helping him read, teaching him job skills for when he got out, trying to prove Kevin was rehabilitated. The prosecutor destroyed him on cross-examination, got him to admit Kevin paid him commissary money to testify, that they'd rehearsed what he'd say, that Kevin had never actually mentioned any of his victims or expressed genuine remorse. Closing arguments were yesterday. The prosecutor was brutal, walked the jury through all 5 victims, showed the pattern, the progression, the manipulation, displayed timeline after timeline showing Kevin never stopped, never changed, just got more careful. This man is a predator, period. He has shown no genuine remorse, no real change. He has spent 20 years destroying lives, stealing childhoods, leaving trauma in his wake. And if given the opportunity, he will do it again. Your job is to make sure he never gets that opportunity. The defense attorney tried, argued that Kevin had already been punished, that piling on additional sentences was excessive, that he deserved a chance at redemption. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, came back at 4 p.m., guilty on all counts, enhanced sentencing recommended. Kevin didn't react, just stared at the table. His attorney put a hand on his shoulder. Kevin shrugged it off. Sentencing is scheduled for next month. The prosecutor thinks he'll get another 20 to 30 years. Added to his existing sentence, Kevin won't be eligible for parole until he's in his 80s. If he lives that long? Sophie cried when the verdict was read. Not sad crying, relief crying. Patricia put an arm around her. I held her hand. My wife was crying too. We all were. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us, asked for statements. Sophie surprised me by stopping, looking directly at the cameras. I want every girl watching this to know something. If an adult makes you feel special, makes you feel chosen, makes you feel like you're mature for your age, that's not love, that's grooming. And you need to tell someone, a parent, a teacher, a counselor, someone. Don't wait like I did. Don't let them make you think it's normal. It's not. It's abuse. And you deserve better. Her voice didn't shake, didn't waver, just clear and strong and certain. I'd never been more proud of her in my entire life. The interview with Rick came out yesterday, front page of the regional paper. Big headline about how a private investigator's surveillance helped catch a serial predator. They used the photo Rick took that first night, Sophie and Kevin at the restaurant. Her face was blurred out. His wasn't. Rick gave a good interview, talked about the importance of trusting your instincts as a parent, about how easy it is to miss signs when you're not looking for them, about how predators rely on secrecy and shame to keep operating. The article included quotes from me, from Sophie, from Marissa and Lauren and Natalie, from Detective Morris about how the case unfolded. It went viral, picked up by national news, shared thousands of times on social media. We started getting emails, messages, other families reaching out, other victims of Kevin's we didn't know about, other parents who'd noticed changes in their kids and weren't sure what to do. Sophie decided to start a blog, anonymous at first, just writing about her experience, what grooming looked like from the inside, how it felt, how she got out, how she's healing. She showed me the first post before publishing it, asked if it was okay, if I minded her sharing our story. I told her it was her story to share however she wanted. It went up 2 days ago. Already has over 10,000 views, hundreds of comments from other survivors, from parents, from people who said they finally understood what happened to them years ago. Sophie reads every comment, responds to the ones she can, says it helps to know she's not alone, that what happened to her happened to so many others, that speaking up matters. My mother tried reaching out again, sent a letter to the house, didn't mention Kevin's conviction, didn't mention Sophie, just talked about how she missed her son, how the family was falling apart, how we needed to fix this. I wrote back, one sentence, Kevin destroyed this family, not me, not Sophie, Kevin. Until you can accept that, we have nothing to say to each other. Haven't heard from her since. My father showed up at my office last week. My secretary tried to stop him, but he pushed past her, walked right into my office and closed the door behind him. We stared at each other for a long moment. He looked awful, thinner, older, defeated. I owe you an apology, he said finally. Yeah, you do. I didn't want to believe it. Couldn't believe it. Kevin was my son. I taught him better than that. Or I thought I did. But the evidence, the testimony, there's no denying it anymore. He did this. All of it. And I'm sorry I didn't believe you sooner. I'm sorry I didn't believe Sophie. You should be telling her that, not me. Would she see me? I don't know. That's her choice. He nodded, looked at his hands. Your mother's not doing well. This has broken her. She won't eat, won't leave the house. Just sits there staring at old photos of Kevin. I'm sorry she's hurting. But Sophie was hurting too, and Mom chose Kevin over her. She doesn't get to play victim now. I know. You're right. I just thought you should know. He left after that. Didn't ask again about seeing Sophie. Didn't make excuses. Just left. I told Sophie about it that night. She thought about it for a while. Maybe I'll see him, eventually, when I'm ready. But not now. I can't handle his guilt on top of everything else I'm processing. That's fair. You don't owe him anything. I know. Dr. Yates has been really good about helping me set boundaries, about understanding that I get to control who has access to me now, that I get to decide who deserves my time and energy. That's good. That's really good. She smiled. I'm thinking about going back to school in the fall. Maybe, if I feel ready. There's a program at a different university, farther away. Fresh start. Whatever you decide, we'll support you. I know, Dad. That's the thing. I actually know that now. Before all this, I think I kind of took you and Mom for granted, assumed you'd always be there. But now I understand what it means that you didn't give up on me. Even when I was horrible to you, even when I defended Kevin, you still fought for me. Always will. She hugged me. First time she'd initiated a hug in months. I held on maybe a little too long. She didn't seem to mind. Things aren't perfect. They're probably never going to be perfect. Sophie still has bad days, still has nightmares, still panics sometimes when men talk to her in certain ways. But she's getting better, stronger, more herself. We had her 18th birthday last week. Small celebration. Just the three of us. We went hiking like she wanted. Stopped at the lookout point where we used to go when she was little. The view was the same. The city spread out below us. The mountains in the distance. Everything exactly like I remembered. But we were different. The people standing there, looking at that view, were fundamentally changed from the people who used to stand there years ago. Trauma does that. Reshapes you. Sometimes into something stronger. Sometimes into something broken. Usually some combination of both. Sophie looked out at the view. You know what's weird? I don't remember Kevin's face anymore. Not clearly. I remember being scared of him. Being angry at him. But his actual face is like blurry. Like my brain is erasing him. That's not weird. That's healing. Yeah? Feels weird. Good, weird, or bad weird? Good, weird, I think. Like I'm taking back space in my head that he used to occupy. Filling it with other stuff. Better stuff. That's exactly what healing looks like. My wife put her arm around Sophie's shoulders. We're proud of you. You know that, right? Proud of how hard you've fought to get here. I know, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you guys. We stood there for a while longer, watching the sun set. Not talking, just being together. A family that almost broke but didn't. A family that survived. Kevin's sentencing is next week. Sophie doesn't want to go. Says she's already said everything she needs to say. Already looked him in the eye and taken back her power. She doesn't need to see him sentenced to know she's free of him. I'll go. With my wife. We'll be there to represent our family. To make sure the judge knows the lasting impact Kevin's actions had. To push for the maximum sentence possible. But Sophie's right. The sentencing is just formality. The real victory already happened. Sophie survived. She's healing. She's building a future. And Kevin is locked away where he can never hurt anyone again. That's all that matters. Update 3. Kevin got 45 years. The judge stacked the sentences. Said Kevin demonstrated clear pattern of predatory behavior spanning 2 decades. Called him a danger to society. recommended he serve his time in maximum security. Kevin's lawyer filed an appeal within hours. The prosecutor says it won't go anywhere, that the evidence is too overwhelming, the conviction's too solid, but it doesn't matter. Even if the appeal somehow succeeded, Kevin would still have his original 25-year sentence. He's not getting out. I watched him being led away in chains. He looked back once, not at me, at the gallery where other victims' families sat, like he was trying to memorize their faces, or maybe just trying to understand how it all fell apart. Good. Let him wonder. Let him spend the next 45 years wondering. Sophie started her blog full-time. Quit the library job. A publisher reached out last month. Wants her to write a book. Memoir about surviving grooming and abuse. She's thinking about it. Says she's not sure she's ready, but she's considering it. The blog has over 100,000 followers now. She gets messages every day. Other survivors sharing their stories. Parents asking for advice. Teachers wanting resources. She's become this accidental advocate. This voice for people who didn't have words for what happened to them. She did a podcast interview 2 weeks ago. I listened to it while driving home from work. Heard her talk about the early signs she missed. The ways Kevin isolated her. The justifications she made. The shame she carried. And then she talked about healing. About therapy. About learning to trust again. About how surviving trauma doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're strong enough to keep going even when part of you wants to give up. I had to pull over because I was crying too hard to drive safely. Not sad crying, proud crying. My little girl was helping people, taking the worst thing that ever happened to her and turning it into something meaningful. Rick and I had dinner last night. His idea. Said he wanted to check in, see how everyone was doing. We went to a steakhouse downtown. Talked for 3 hours. He told me about other cases he'd worked since ours. Cheating spouses mostly, insurance fraud. Nothing as heavy as what happened with Sophie. Said our case changed how he approached surveillance. Made him more aware of what to look for. What red flags meant something serious. I thanked him again, probably the 100th time. He waved it off like always. Just doing my job. It was more than that. You saved my daughter's life. Your instincts saved your daughter's life. I just provided documentation. We argued about it for a bit, then moved on to other topics. His daughter was starting college. His wife was thinking about going back to school. Normal life stuff. It felt good. Talking about normal things with someone who understood the abnormal. When we left, he handed me a business card. Not his usual PI card. A different one. Friend of mine. He runs seminars for parents. How to spot grooming behaviors. Red flags. That kind of thing. He's looking for people to share their stories. I gave him your name. Hope that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Your story matters. What you learned matters. Could help a lot of families. I put the card in my wallet. Haven't called yet. Not sure I'm ready. But maybe I will be eventually. Sophie moved out last week. Got an apartment with a roommate she met through her survivor support group. It's small, ground floor with good lighting, security system, pepper spray on her keychain. She's being careful, cautious, but she's doing it. Living independently. My wife cried when we helped her move. Happy tears and sad tears mixed together. Empty nest, hitting different when you've spent the last year hyper-focused on keeping your kids safe. Hard to let go even when you know it's the right thing. We had dinner at Sophie's new place last night. She cooked, pasta with vegetables. Nothing fancy, but it was good. Her roommate's name is Tessa. Quiet girl. Worked in IT. Had her own trauma history. They got along well. Understood each other without having to explain. After dinner, Sophie walked me to my car. Dad, I've been meaning to tell you something. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I just wanted to say thank you. For everything. For believing me. For fighting for me. For not giving up even when I pushed you away. I know it wasn't easy. I know I said horrible things. Did horrible things. But you stayed, and that saved my life. Sophie, let me finish. I'm going to be okay. I know that now. It took a long time to believe it. But I'm going to be okay, and that's because of you. Because you paid attention. Because you trusted your gut. Because you hired Rick. All of it. So thank you. I hugged her, held on tight. I love you, baby. So much. I love you too, Dad. I drove home in silence. My wife was already in bed when I got there, reading a book. She looked up when I came in. How is she? She's good. Really good. You okay? Yeah, I think I am. She put her book down. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't noticed? If Kevin had gotten her to run away with him? Every day. But I try not to stay there. Try to focus on what did happen. That we got her back. That she's safe. That Kevin's locked up. Do you think we'll ever stop feeling guilty? For not seeing it sooner? Probably not. But Dr. Yates says that's normal. That we have to learn to live with some guilt while also recognizing we did the best we could with the information we had. I hate that he gets to live rent-free in my head. After everything he did, he still takes up space in my thoughts. He won't forever. It'll get easier. It already is easier. She nodded, went back to her book. I got ready for bed, lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about Sophie in her new apartment, starting her new life, building something Kevin couldn't touch. That's what victory looks like. Not revenge, not punishment, just Sophie living, thriving, refusing to let what happened to her define who she becomes. My phone buzzed. Text from Sophie. Just a photo. Her and Tessa sitting on their couch, both smiling. Caption. First night in the new place. Thanks for everything. I showed my wife. She smiled. Our girl's going to be fine. Yeah, she is. I turned off the light, pulled my wife close, closed my eyes, and for the first time in over a year, I slept through the whole night. No nightmares, no panic, no waking up at 3 a.m. wondering if Sophie was okay. She was okay. We were all okay. Not perfect, not unmarked, but okay. And sometimes okay is more than enough. The doorbell rang at 7 a.m. on Saturday. I opened it to find Detective Morris standing there with a woman I didn't recognize. She was maybe 40, professional looking, carrying a briefcase. Morning. Sorry to show up unannounced. This is Agent Reeves from the FBI. She needs to talk to you about Kevin's case. My stomach tightened. I thought the case was closed. The state case is, but there's a federal component we just uncovered. Can we come in? I let them in. Made coffee. My wife came downstairs in her robe. What's going on? Agent Reeves opened her briefcase, pulled out a folder. We've been investigating a larger network. Predators who share information, trading tips, grooming techniques. Your brother-in-law's name came up on a forum we've been monitoring. Forum? Dark web. Encrypted. Very careful about who they let in. But we managed to infiltrate it 6 months ago. Kevin was an active participant, posting about his methods, sharing photos, bragging about his conquests. I felt sick. Photos of Sophie? We don't know yet. The photos are heavily encrypted. We're working on decrypting them. But based on the timestamps and Kevin's posts, it's likely. My wife made a sound. Half sob, half scream. I put my arm around her. What do you need from us? We need to prepare Sophie. She's going to have to testify again. Federal trial. And the content is going to be worse than anything she's heard before. These men, they document everything, share everything, take pride in what they do. Can't you just use what you already have, keep her out of it? We could, but the prosecution wants victim impact statements, wants the jury to see the real consequences. And Sophie, she's articulate, brave. She'd be a powerful witness. She just moved out, just started building a normal life. This will destroy her. I know. But if we don't prosecute, these men will keep operating, keep destroying lives. Your brother-in-law is part of something much bigger, something organized. We need Sophie's help to take it down. I looked at my wife. She was crying silently, shaking. Let me talk to her. I'm not promising anything, but I'll talk to her. Agent Reeves handed me a card. Call me when you're ready. And I'm sorry. I know this is the last thing your family needs, but these cases, they matter. Every predator we take down is hundreds of kids we save. They left. My wife and I sat in silence for a long time. Finally, she spoke. We can't ask her to do this. We can't put her through more trauma. We have to tell her. Let her decide. She'll say yes. You know she will. Because she's good. Because she wants to help. But it'll break her. Maybe. Or maybe it'll empower her. Give her more control. More purpose. Or maybe it'll undo all the healing she's done. We won't know until we ask. I called Sophie that afternoon. Asked if we could come by. She said sure. Sounded happy. Excited to show us something she'd done with the apartment. When we arrived, she was all smiles. Showed us the gallery wall she'd made, photos of friends, places she'd traveled, things that made her happy. No photos of Kevin, no reminders of that time. I like it, I said. Looks good. Thanks. Tessa helped. She's got a good eye for design. We sat down. Sophie made tea, chatted about her blog, about a sponsor who wanted to partner with her, about how overwhelmed she was by the response. Finally, I interrupted. Sophie, we need to talk about something serious. Her smile faded. Is someone sick? No, it's about Kevin. There's a federal investigation. He was part of a network, other predators. They want you to testify again. She set down her teacup. Testify about what? About what he did to you. But this time it'll be worse. More explicit. More details. They found evidence. Photos maybe. Posts he made about you. Her face went pale. He posted about me online? For other pedophiles to see? We don't know for sure, but probably. Yeah. She stood up, started pacing. I can't. Dad, I can't do that again. Stand in front of a courtroom and describe. I can't. I know, and you don't have to. They can prosecute without you. But it'll be weaker, right? If I don't testify. Probably. But that's not your problem. You've done enough. She stopped pacing, looked at me. How many are there in this network? I don't know. Dozens, maybe hundreds. And if they prosecute successfully, all those men go to jail? That's the goal. She sat back down, wrapped her arms around herself. Can I think about it? Of course. Take all the time you need. She nodded. We finished our tea in silence. When we left, Sophie hugged me extra tight. I hate him. I hate that he keeps finding ways to hurt me even from prison. I know, baby. I know. 3 days later, Sophie called. I'll do it. Testify. But I have conditions. Okay? What are they? I want to meet with the prosecutor first. Make sure they understand what they're asking. I want therapy support before, during, and after the trial. And I want to write a victim impact statement that gets included in all the sentencings. Not just Kevin's. All of them. I'll tell Agent Reeves. And Dad, I'm doing this. But this is the last time. After this, I'm done. No more interviews, no more testimonies, no more rehashing. I'm closing this chapter for good. That's fair. That's more than fair. The federal trial was set for September, 5 months away. Sophie spent that time preparing, working with the prosecutor, meeting with Dr. Yates 3 times a week, writing and rewriting her statement. She showed it to me once. I got 3 paragraphs in before I had to stop. It was devastating. Raw, honest, described in detail what Kevin had taken from her, how his actions echoed through every aspect of her life, how she had to relearn what trust meant, what safety meant, what love meant. It's perfect, I told her. Powerful. I wanted them to understand. The judges, the juries, that we're not just statistics. We're people. We're someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's friend. We matter. You matter so much. The trial lasted 3 weeks. 7 defendants, all men Kevin had communicated with, all men who'd shared his interests, his methods, his victims. Sophie testified on day 12. She was on the stand for 4 hours. The defense attorneys tried to rattle her, tried to poke holes in her story, tried to paint her as a willing participant. She didn't break, didn't waver, just calmly, clearly, painfully described what had happened, what Kevin had done, how it affected her, how it still affected her. When she finished, 3 of the 7 defendants looked sick. 1 was crying. Kevin, watching via video feed from prison, showed nothing, just stared at the screen with dead eyes. The jury deliberated for 2 days, came back with guilty verdicts on all defendants. Conspiracy charges, production and distribution of child sexual abuse material, enticement of minors. The list went on. Sentencing took another 2 weeks. Sophie's victim impact statement was read at each one, by the prosecutor, in her voice, her words. The sentences ranged from 15 years to life. Kevin got an additional 30 years. Federal time, no parole. He'd die in prison. They all would. Sophie watched the last sentencing via closed-circuit TV. Didn't want to be in the courtroom, didn't want to see them in person, but wanted to see it happen, wanted closure. When it was over, she turned off the TV, looked at me and my wife. It's done. It's done, I echoed. I don't know, empty? Like I've been carrying this weight for so long and now it's gone and I don't know what to do with all this space. You fill it with good things, with life, with whatever you want. She smiled, small but real. Yeah, I can do that. She published her book 6 months later, became a bestseller within weeks. Sophie did a small book tour, talked to survivors, to parents, to anyone who would listen. She started a nonprofit, providing resources to families affected by grooming and abuse, connecting them with therapists, lawyers, support groups. She hired Tessa to help run it, hired Marissa and Lauren and Natalie as board members. They called it the Sophie Project. I told her she didn't have to use her real name. She said she wanted to, wanted other girls to know they could survive, could thrive, could turn their trauma into purpose. She's 22 now. 5 years since that night Rick sent me those photos. 5 years since our world imploded. She's dating someone. Nice guy named Marcus. Works in education. Patient. Understanding. Takes her panic attacks in stride. Doesn't push when she needs space. My wife and I met him last month. Dinner at our place. He was nervous. Kept asking if he was doing okay. If we approved. Sophie just laughed. Told him to relax. That we weren't those kinds of parents. But I watched him with her. Saw how gentle he was. How he waited for her to initiate touch. How he paid attention to her boundaries without making a big deal about it. And I thought, yeah, this one's okay. Sophie's nonprofit has helped over 3,000 families in 2 years. She speaks at conferences, trains law enforcement on grooming signs, consults on legislation to protect minors online. She's become this force, this presence. The nonprofit grew faster than any of us expected. Within 6 months of launching, they had a full-time staff of 8, victim advocates, legal consultants, therapists specializing in trauma, a tech team that monitored online spaces where predators operated. Sophie ran it all from a small office downtown. I stopped by one afternoon to drop off lunch. Found her in a meeting with 2 legislators. They were drafting a bill, something about mandatory reporting requirements for online platforms. She was explaining how predators used gaming apps to target kids, how the apps had zero accountability. The legislators were taking notes, asking questions, actually listening. When the meeting ended, one of them shook her hand. "You're doing important work here. This legislation could save thousands of kids." Sophie just nodded. "That's the goal." After they left, we ate sandwiches in her office. She looked exhausted. "You're working too much," I said. "There's too much work to do. You need to take care of yourself too." "I am. I see Dr. Yates every week. I go to yoga. I eat vegetables. I'm fine, Dad." But she wasn't fine. Not entirely. I could see it in the way she held tension in her shoulders, the way she checked her phone obsessively, the way she startled when someone knocked on her office door. "Have you been sleeping?" I asked. She hesitated. "Some nights are harder than others. Nightmares. Not about Kevin. About the girls I can't help. The families that reach out too late. The ones where the predator already got away with it." She put down her sandwich. "Last week, a mother contacted us. Her daughter was groomed by a family friend for 3 years. Textbook case, tons of evidence. But the DA declined to prosecute. Said it would be too traumatic for the victim to testify. Too hard to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Can you help them find another lawyer?" We tried. Everyone says the same thing. It's a tough case, not worth the resources, so this man just walks free, probably already targeting his next victim, and there's nothing I can do about it. You can't save everyone. I know, but I should be able to save someone like that. Someone with evidence, with witnesses, with everything you're supposed to need. If even those cases don't get prosecuted, what's the point? The point is you've already saved 3,000 families. You've put dozens of predators in prison. You've changed laws. You're making a difference. It doesn't feel like enough. I recognize that look, that edge of obsession, the same intensity that had driven her through the trials and the book and launching the nonprofit. It was productive, but it was also consuming her. When's the last time you did something just for fun? Not work-related, just something you enjoyed? She thought about it. I don't know. Couple months? That's too long. You need balance. Balance is a luxury people like me don't get. People like you? Survivors, advocates. We don't get to just move on and forget. We carry it with us, always. I know, but you can carry it and still have a life, still have joy. She picked at her sandwich. Marcus wants to take a trip, long weekend somewhere, but I can't leave, not with everything happening here. The nonprofit will survive 3 days without you. Go on the trip. What if someone needs help? Then your staff will help them. That's why you hired them. She sighed. When did you become so wise? I've always been wise. You just never listened before. She laughed. Actually laughed. First real laugh I'd heard from her in weeks. Fine. I'll talk to Marcus. Plan something. They went to the mountains that next weekend. Came back looking more relaxed. Sophie showed me photos. Hiking trails. A cabin by a lake. Them making silly faces at the camera. Normal couple stuff. You look happy, I said. I am happy. Weirdly, genuinely happy. Marcus is good for me. He better be, or he'll have to answer to me. She rolled her eyes. Dad, I'm 22. I can handle my own relationships. I know, but I'm still your father. Comes with the territory. The nonprofit kept expanding. They opened a second office in a neighboring state, then a third. Sophie was traveling constantly, speaking engagements, training sessions, fundraising events. She was burning both ends of the candle. My wife and I worried, talked about staging an intervention, but every time we tried to bring it up, Sophie would deflect. Show us success stories, kids they'd helped, families they'd saved, predators they'd stopped. How do you tell someone to slow down when the work they're doing is that important? Then Sophie collapsed during a conference presentation. Just mid-sentence, her eyes rolled back and she hit the floor. The EMTs said it was exhaustion and dehydration, stress, her body forcing her to rest since she wouldn't do it voluntarily. Marcus called us from the hospital. We drove there immediately, found Sophie hooked up to an IV, looking small and pale in the hospital bed. I'm fine, she said before we could ask. Just overdid it. You think? My wife's voice was sharp. Scared. You can't keep going like this. I have to. There's too much. No, you don't have to. The work will still be there tomorrow, next week, next month, but you won't if you keep destroying yourself. Sophie looked away. I can't stop. If I stop, I have to think. And if I think, I remember. And if I remember, I fall apart. There it was. The truth she'd been running from. She wasn't working herself to death because the cause mattered. She was doing it because staying busy meant not processing, not feeling, not dealing with the trauma that still lived inside her. You need to take a break, I said. Real break. Not a weekend. Months. I can't. The nonprofit has a board of directors, has staff, has systems in place. It doesn't need you every single day. But we need you. Marcus needs you. You need you. She started crying. I don't know how to just be, how to exist without the work. It's all I have. It's not all you have. You have us. You have Marcus. You have a whole life waiting for you if you just let yourself live it. The doctors kept her overnight for observation. Recommended she take at least a month off. See her therapist more frequently. Consider medication for the anxiety she'd been white-knuckling through. Sophie fought it at first, made excuses, insisted she was fine, but Marcus put his foot down. Told her either she took time off voluntarily or he'd call an emergency board meeting and they'd force her to take a leave of absence. She chose voluntary, begrudgingly, angrily, but she chose it. The first week was hell. Sophie paced the apartment like a caged animal, checked her work email obsessively until Marcus changed the password, called staff members to check in until they stopped answering. By week 2, she was sleeping 16 hours a day, making up for months of insomnia and stress. Marcus would update us, said she was finally letting herself rest, finally letting her guard down. Week 3, she started painting, something she used to do in high school before Kevin. Before everything, she set up an easel in the spare room, spent hours mixing colors, creating abstract pieces that probably meant something but she wouldn't explain. I forgot how much I missed this, she told me when I visited. Just making something for the sake of making it. No purpose, no message, just creation. Looks good, I said. I had no idea if it actually looked good. Art was never my thing, but she seemed happy. That was what mattered. I've been thinking, she said, not looking up from her canvas. Maybe I need to step back from the nonprofit. Not leave entirely, but transition to more of an advisory role. Let someone else run the day-to-day. What would you do instead? I don't know. Maybe go back to school, finish my degree, or travel, or just exist for a while without a grand purpose. She put down her brush. Is that selfish? With everything I know, everything I've experienced, is it selfish to just want a normal life? It's not selfish, it's human. But all those families that need help will still get help, from your staff, from other organizations. The work doesn't disappear if you step back, but you might disappear if you don't. She nodded slowly. When did you get so good at this? At knowing what to say? Therapy. Lots of therapy. She laughed. Yeah, that tracks. Sophie stayed on leave for 3 months. Used the time to really work through her trauma with Dr. Yates. Processed things she'd been too busy to process. Faced memories she'd been running from. It was brutal. There were days she couldn't get out of bed. Days she couldn't stop crying. Days she wanted to quit therapy entirely because it hurt too much. But she stuck with it, pushed through, and slowly, gradually, she started to heal. Not the surface healing she'd been performing for everyone. The real healing. The kind that happens when you stop running and face the pain head on. When she finally went back to the nonprofit, it was in a reduced capacity. Board chair instead of executive director. Strategic planning instead of day-to-day operations. She hired a new director, someone with experience running nonprofits, someone who could take it to the next level. Sophie focused on the parts she actually enjoyed, speaking engagements, writing, connecting with survivors. She cut her work hours in half, started therapy twice a week, made time for painting and hiking and normal life things. Marcus proposed on a Thursday. Nothing fancy, just the two of them at the lake where they'd gone on that first weekend trip. Sophie called us from the car on the way home. Couldn't stop laughing and crying at the same time. I said yes, she told us. I'm getting married. Can you believe it? After everything. I'm actually getting married. My wife grabbed the phone from me. We're so happy for you, sweetie. So happy. When's the wedding? We don't know yet. Sometime next year, probably. Small ceremony, just family and close friends, nothing big. Whatever you want. It's your day. After they hung up, my wife turned to me, tears streaming down her face. She's going to be okay. Really okay. Yeah, she is. The wedding was in June. Outdoor ceremony at a botanical garden. 75 guests. Sophie wore a simple white dress, looked radiant, happy, free. I walked her down the aisle. She squeezed my arm halfway there, whispered, "Thank you, Dad, for everything." I couldn't respond. too choked up, just squeezed back and kept walking. Marcus's vows made everyone cry. Talked about Sophie's strength, her courage, her ability to transform pain into purpose. Promised to support her always, to be patient with her healing, to love every version of her. Sophie's vows were shorter, simpler. I didn't think I could trust anyone after what happened. Didn't think I deserved happiness. But you showed me I was wrong. You showed me I was worth loving, worth fighting for, worth building a life with, and I'm so grateful. So impossibly grateful. I love you. Not a dry eye in the place. The reception was perfect. Good food, good music. Sophie danced with me, with Marcus, with her friends from the nonprofit. She looked lighter than I'd ever seen her, like she'd finally put down a weight she'd been carrying for years. Late in the evening, she pulled me aside. "Dad, I need to tell you something." My heart jumped. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I just wanted to say, you saved my life, literally saved my life, and I never properly thanked you for that, for noticing, for caring, for not giving up on me even when I was awful. I wouldn't be here without you, wouldn't have any of this. So thank you, for being the father every kid deserves." I hugged her, held on tight. "You saved yourself, baby. I just helped point you in the right direction." "No, you did more than that. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You never stopped loving me even when I was unlovable. That's what saved me." Number 1. We stood there for a long time. Father and daughter, survivors both. Different kinds of survival, but survival nonetheless. Kevin writes letters sometimes. Still, after everything. Claiming he's changed, found God, regrets his actions, wants forgiveness. The letters go straight to the prosecutor's office. Evidence of continued attempts to manipulate, to minimize, to rewrite history. Sophie doesn't read them, doesn't think about them, doesn't give him space in her head anymore. She's too busy living, building, creating a world where fewer girls have to go through what she went through. Last week was the 5-year anniversary of Kevin's arrest. Sophie posted about it on her blog, reflected on how far she'd come, how much she'd healed, how grateful she was for everyone who'd supported her. And at the end, she wrote, "To every parent reading this, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. Ask questions. Don't let anyone tell you you're overreacting. I'm alive and healing today because my father paid attention, because he trusted his gut, because he loved me enough to see past my lies and Kevin's manipulation. Be that parent. Be the person who notices, who cares, who acts, because it matters. It saves lives. It saved mine. I read it 3 times, saved it, printed it out, put it in my wallet where I keep Sophie's baby photos, right next to her high school graduation picture, and her first headshot from her speaking career, and now, her wedding photo. All the versions of her, before, during, after. She's not the same person she was at 17. None of us are. But she's here. She's strong. She's making a difference. And that's all I ever wanted for her. A chance to live, to grow, to become whoever she was meant to be. Kevin tried to steal that from her, spent months grooming her, manipulating her, convincing her their relationship was real, was special, was love. He isolated her from her friends, from her family, from anyone who might see through his lies. He made her dependent on his approval, his attention, his presence. Classic predator behavior. The kind of thing that ruins lives, destroys families, leaves scars that never fully heal. But Kevin failed. He failed because I noticed, because I trusted my instincts when something felt wrong, because I hired Rick, and we gathered evidence, and we stopped him before he could do worse. He failed because Sophie was stronger than he thought, braver than he anticipated, more resilient than he could imagine. She survived him, outlasted him, transformed her pain into something meaningful, and every day, she helps someone else do the same. Every day, she proves that trauma doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning of something powerful, something important, something that changes lives. That's my daughter. That's Sophie. And I've never been more proud of anyone in my entire life. The nonprofit hit a major milestone last month. 10,000 families helped, 5 years of operation, 50 predators put behind bars, new legislation passed in 12 states. It's become more than any of us imagined. Sophie gave a speech at the anniversary gala, talked about how it started, how it grew, where it's going. But mostly she talked about hope, about healing, about how survival is possible even when it feels impossible. 5 years ago, I didn't want to live, she said from the podium, her voice steady, strong. I couldn't imagine a future where I wasn't defined by what happened to me, where I wasn't that girl, the victim, the one who got groomed by her uncle. But here I am, married, happy, running an organization that saves lives, living proof that you can survive the unsurvivable. that you can heal from the unhealable, that your trauma doesn't get to write your ending. The room erupted in applause. People stood, cheered, some cried. Sophie smiled through it all, gracious, humble, but you could see it. That spark, that fire, the thing Kevin tried to extinguish but couldn't. After the event, Rick found me at the bar. We'd stayed in touch over the years, met for drinks every few months, caught up on life. "Your daughter's something special," he said. "She really is. You ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't called me? If you'd just written off your concerns as paranoia? Every day. Still haunts me. How close we came to losing her. But you didn't. That's what matters. You trusted your gut. You acted. You saved her. We saved her," I corrected. "Couldn't have done it without you." He raised his glass. "To noticing, to trusting instincts, to not minding our own business when kids are in danger." I clinked my glass against his. "To all of that," we drank in comfortable silence. Two men who'd been thrown together by tragedy but stayed connected by choice, by friendship, by mutual understanding of how fragile life is, how quickly it can be destroyed, how hard you have to fight to protect what matters. Sophie found us eventually, dragged us both onto the dance floor, made us dance to some song I didn't recognize. We looked ridiculous. Three people with no rhythm trying to dance, but Sophie was laughing, really laughing. The kind of laugh that comes from deep in your belly, from pure joy. That's the image I hold on to. Sophie laughing, dancing, surrounded by people who love her, people who fought for her, people who helped her become the person she was always meant to be. Kevin's in a cell somewhere, probably will be for the rest of his life. He destroyed so many lives, hurt so many girls, caused so much pain, but he didn't win. Not with Sophie, not with any of his victims who found the courage to speak up, who fought back, who refused to let him define them. They survived him, all of them. Some are thriving like Sophie, others are still struggling, still fighting, still working through trauma that may never fully heal, but they're here. They're alive. They're not statistics, not victims, not the girls that predator groomed. They're daughters and sisters and friends and professionals and humans, full, complete humans who deserve every good thing life has to offer, who deserve safety and love and happiness and peace. And every day, Sophie helps more of them find that, helps more of them heal, helps more of them understand that what happened to them wasn't their fault, that they're not broken, that they're not alone. That's her legacy, not what Kevin did to her, but what she did despite Kevin. In defiance of Kevin, in the ruins Kevin left behind, she built something beautiful, something meaningful, something that will outlast all of us. I couldn't be more proud, more grateful, more in awe of the woman my daughter became, not because of her trauma, but because of how she refused to let that trauma be the final word on who she was. She wrote her own ending, one where she wins, where she heals, where she lives fully and loves deeply and makes a difference that echoes far beyond her own story. That's my daughter. That's Sophie. And I will spend the rest of my life grateful I paid attention, that I trusted my instincts, that I fought for her when she couldn't fight for herself, because that's what parents do. We notice, we protect, we act, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when we wish we didn't have to. We show up, we fight, we love, and sometimes, if we're lucky, that's enough to save the people who matter most. Epilogue. 3 years after Kevin's final sentencing, Sophie called me on a Tuesday morning. I was at work, reviewing loan applications. Saw her name on my phone and immediately worried something was wrong. That's the thing about having a child who's been through trauma. You never stop worrying, never stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. "Hey, what's up?" I tried to sound casual, normal. "Dad, I'm pregnant." My heart stopped, then started again, faster, too fast. "What?" "Marcus and I are having a baby. I'm 12 weeks along. Everything looks good so far. We just had the ultrasound yesterday." I sat down. My legs felt weak. "A baby? You're having a baby?" "Yeah, I know it's scary. Trust me, I'm terrified. But I'm also really happy. We're really happy. Does Dr. Yates know?" I told her last week. She's helping me work through the anxiety, the fear, all the complicated feelings about bringing a child into the world after everything I went through. What did she say? That it's normal to be scared, that my trauma doesn't determine what kind of mother I'll be, that I can break the cycle, create a safe, healthy environment for my child. But I need to be honest about my triggers and my limitations and my needs. I took a breath, tried to process. "How are you feeling? Physically, I mean. Nauseous, tired, emotional. Pretty standard first trimester stuff, according to my doctor. But emotionally, I'm a mess. One minute I'm excited and planning the nursery. The next minute I'm spiraling about all the ways I could fail this kid. All the dangers out there, all the predators. That's understandable. Dr. Yates says I need to work on my catastrophic thinking, that I can't let my trauma make me paranoid. But how do I do that? How do I trust the world with my child when I know what the world can do? You do your best. You stay vigilant without becoming paranoid. You teach your child about safety without terrifying them. You trust your instincts like I trusted mine with you. She was quiet for a moment. I'm scared I'm going to be overprotective, that I'm going to see threats everywhere, that I'm going to damage my kid with my anxiety. Then you keep working with Dr. Yates. You recognize when your fear is rational versus when it's trauma-based. And you remember that you're not alone. You have Marcus. You have us. You have a support system. I want you to be involved, Dad. Really involved. I want this baby to know their grandfather, to feel safe with you, to have the relationship with you that I almost lost. I'd love that, more than anything. Mom's gonna lose her mind when I tell her. Good way or bad way? Very good way. She's been hinting about grandchildren for months. Sophie laughed. Yeah, I've noticed. Okay, I'm going to call her now. Just wanted to tell you first. Thanks for that. And Sophie, you're going to be an amazing mother. I hope so. I really, really hope so. We hung up. I sat at my desk for 10 minutes just staring at nothing. Sophie was going to be a mother. My daughter, who I'd almost lost to a predator, who'd survived trauma that would have destroyed most people, who'd built a life and a career and a purpose from the ruins of her abuse. She was going to have a baby. The complexity of emotions was overwhelming. Pride, fear, hope, anxiety, joy, all of it swirling together until I couldn't separate one from another. My phone rang. My wife. Did Sophie call you? Yeah, just now. We're going to be grandparents. She was crying. Happy crying. I can't believe it. After everything, she's going to have a baby. I know. Are you worried? About how she'll handle it with her history? A little. But she's strong. She's been working so hard in therapy. She's got good support. She'll figure it out. What if she has a girl? What if she can't stop seeing herself in her daughter, seeing all the dangers? Then we help her through it, same as we've been doing, one day at a time. The pregnancy was hard on Sophie, not physically. That part was relatively easy, but mentally and emotionally, she struggled. Every milestone brought new anxieties. Every doctor's appointment triggered fears. Every baby shower gift made her think about Kevin and what he'd stolen from her. Dr. Yates increased their sessions to 3 times a week, helped Sophie process her fears about motherhood, about protecting her child, about whether she'd damage this baby with her stress hormones and her trauma responses. Dr. Yates says babies are resilient, Sophie told me one afternoon. We were at her place, assembling the crib Marcus had bought. That as long as I'm generally calm and connected, occasional stress won't hurt the baby. But I don't know if I believe that. Why not? Because I'm not generally calm. I'm constantly anxious, constantly worried, constantly waiting for something bad to happen. That's the hypervigilance talking. Your brain's stuck in survival mode. How do I get it unstuck? How do I just exist without constantly scanning for threats? I don't know that you do. Not completely. But you learn to recognize when your threat response is proportional versus when it's trauma-based. You learn to reality test your fears. Example? Okay. You're afraid to let your baby sleep in the nursery alone because you think something bad will happen. That's trauma-based. Babies sleep in nurseries. That's normal, safe. The fear isn't about the actual situation. It's about your past. So I just ignore the fear? No. You acknowledge it. You understand where it's coming from. And then you make decisions based on reality, not fear. She nodded slowly. That makes sense. In theory, harder in practice. Everything's harder in practice. We worked on the crib in silence for a while. Then Sophie spoke again. I found out the sex yesterday. We're having a girl. My hands stopped moving. A girl. Yeah, I knew you'd get it. Why that's complicated for me. Because of your history. Because I know what happened to me. What could happen to her. What men like Kevin do to girls like I was. And I don't know if I can handle that knowledge. That constant fear. So you work through it. In therapy. With Marcus. With us. You don't have to carry this alone. What if I can't protect her? What if I miss the signs like you almost did with me? What if I'm so hyper-vigilant that I push her away and she doesn't trust me when something actually happens? Those are all valid fears. And you address them by being present. By building trust. By teaching her body autonomy and consent, and that she can always talk to you about anything. By being the parent you needed when you were her age. She started crying. Pregnancy hormones plus trauma plus fear all colliding. I'm going to mess this up. I know I am. All parents mess up. What matters is you keep trying, keep learning, keep growing. The baby was born on a Thursday morning in June. 8 pounds, 2 ounces. Healthy, beautiful, screaming at the top of her lungs. Sophie named her Iris. After her grandmother, my mother. Despite everything with my parents, Sophie wanted to honor the good memories, the before times, when family meant something different. I held Iris for the first time in the hospital. This tiny person who'd never known trauma, never known fear, never known anything but safety and love. She stared up at me with dark eyes that looked just like Sophie's, like she could see right through me. "Hi, Iris," I whispered. "I'm your grandfather, and I promise I'm going to help keep you safe. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to notice if something's wrong. I'm going to believe you if you ever need to tell me something scary, because that's what your mom needed, and that's what you deserve." Sophie watched from her hospital bed, exhausted, overwhelmed, but smiling. "You're going to spoil her rotten, aren't you?" "Absolutely. That's what grandparents do." "Good. She's going to need that. Balance out my anxiety." Taking Iris home was terrifying for Sophie. She barely slept the first week, just sat by Iris's bassinet watching her breathe, checking constantly to make sure she was okay. Marcus had to force Sophie to rest, to eat, to take care of herself. "I can't stop thinking about all the things that could go wrong," Sophie told me during one visit. She was holding Iris, looking down at her sleeping face with a mixture of love and terror. SIDS, accidents, strangers, everything. That's normal new parent anxiety, made worse by your trauma. But Iris is fine. Look at her. She's perfect. What if someone takes her? What if I'm not paying attention and someone just takes her? Then you don't let her out of your sight in public. You use baby carriers. You trust your instincts, same as I did with you. But you missed it with me. You didn't see what Kevin was doing until it was too late. I didn't miss it. I caught it. Earlier than a lot of parents would have. And that's because I paid attention. Because I trusted my gut when something felt off. She looked at me. I don't want to be the parent who smothers their kid, who sees danger everywhere, who can't let go. Then you work on it, in therapy, with Marcus. You recognize when your fear is proportional versus trauma-based, and you make conscious choices about how to parent. The first year with Iris was a constant balancing act. Sophie struggled with postpartum depression on top of her PTSD, had to adjust her medications, increase therapy sessions, let people help when she wanted to do everything herself. But slowly, gradually, she found her rhythm, learned to distinguish between rational parenting concerns and trauma responses, learned to let Marcus help, let us help, let her support system actually support her. Iris thrived. Happy baby, easy temperament, smiled at everyone, slept through the night by 3 months, rolled over, sat up, crawled, hit all her milestones early, gave no indication that her mother's trauma had affected her development in any way. Dr. Yates was right, Sophie told me when Iris was 15 months old. We were at the park, watching Iris toddle around the playground. Babies are resilient. Iris doesn't know about my trauma. She just knows I love her, that I'm there for her, that she's safe. You're doing great with her. Some days are easier than others. But yeah, I think I am. Have you thought about having more kids? She laughed. One is plenty for now. Maybe in a few years, after I'm more stable, after I've worked through more of my stuff. Fair enough. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Do you think Kevin thinks about us? About what he did? About the damage he caused? I don't know. I'd like to think he does. That he has some capacity for remorse. But honestly, probably not. Predators like him don't typically develop genuine empathy. I got a letter from him last month, first one in over a year. He's up for some kind of program evaluation. Needed character witnesses. Had the audacity to ask if I'd write a letter on his behalf. My hands clenched. Please tell me you didn't. Of course not. I sent it straight to the prosecutor like always. But it messed with my head for a few days. Made me remember things I'd worked hard to process and move past. Did you talk to Dr. Yates about it? Yeah, she helped me work through it. Reminded me that Kevin's continued attempts to manipulate don't actually have power unless I give them power. That I can choose not to engage. That's good. I'm not that scared teenage girl anymore, Dad. I'm a grown woman, a mother, a survivor, a advocate. Kevin doesn't get to define me anymore. No, he doesn't. We watched Iris play in the sand, completely oblivious to the heavy conversation happening 10 feet away. Completely innocent, completely safe. That's what I fought for. What Rick documented. What the prosecutors proved. What the juries believed. Iris's innocence, her safety, her ability to grow up without being targeted by predators like Kevin. The nonprofit continued to grow. Sophie hired a new executive director who shared her vision but had the energy and capacity to run daily operations. Sophie transitioned to more of an advisory role, speaking engagements, fundraising, strategic planning, the parts she enjoyed without the burnout of managing everything. They opened their first safe house 2 years after Iris was born. 3 bedrooms, full-time staff, security system, everything necessary to protect girls escaping abuse. Within 6 months, it was full. Within a year, they were planning a second location. Sophie brought Iris to the grand opening, let her cut the ribbon, took photos of her daughter being part of this legacy of protection and healing. "One day I'll tell her about all this," Sophie said. "When she's old enough to understand, I'll tell her what happened to me, what I built from it, how I turned my trauma into something meaningful. She'll be proud of you." I hope so. I want her to understand that bad things happen, but they don't have to destroy you, that you can survive, can heal, can build something beautiful from the ruins. 5 years. That's how long it's been since Kevin's arrest. 5 years of healing and growth and hard work. 5 years of Sophie rebuilding her life, creating new memories, new purpose, new identity beyond victim.